Hey everyone, my name is Miranda.
Hello, my name's Elaine. Suddenly, it's May already. Are you ready for the upcoming final exam?
Our club had a discussion on how to review and summarize some useful study tips.
We will share with you some little tips for preparing a speech, reading textbooks, reviewing exams, and learning languages.
For me, whether it's standing in front of my classmates or in front of a group of strangers, I always have a problem doing speeches. Whenever that comes up, I usually prepare a slideshow. I can list whatever I want to say, so in case if I get nervous, I can just look up and what I want to say will be there. The simpler and the clearer your slideshows are, the easier it is for your audience to grasp your ideas. What do you use to prepare?
Well, my method is actually pretty similar to yours because I also prepare a slideshow before the speech. But when I don't have enough time to prepare the slideshow, I write the outline on paper, and that way if I forget the words, I just need to look down at the papers in my hand.
The most important part is you're confident that you gives off to your audience. So if you ever get nervous, try practicing in front of a mirror. By talking to myself in the mirror, I will find lots of small mistakes that I didn't notice earlier. And also, making eye contacts with myself in the mirror help boost my confidence, so I'm less nervous when I'm making eye contacts with the audience.
So what advice do you have about reading textbooks with a lot of pages and finding the most important information?
I think the most common method, but also a method I use, is to use a highlighter to outline the important information in the book while I'm reading.
I like to use two different highlighter colors, brighter or more visible colors for keywords and the others for more important sentences or phrases.
Me too. Also, if I have enough time, I will usually use another pencil to draw arrows between relevant events and the people. If there's too much information, I will usually use the pencil to annotate while I'm reading. Also, if I paraphrase the main information in my own words, it helps me memorize better.
I think that's a really good idea. Usually, if you repeat the knowledge to others, it would actually help you strengthen your own memory as well. So, if you record the information in the textbook, it's basically the same thing as telling yourself the knowledge you just learned, so you won't ever forget it.
While reading, I personally prefer handwritten notes. I have a sense of accomplishment when I look at a full notebook. And although handwriting is much slower than typing, we have to strain the most important information instead of blindly copying the contents of the book, which will also strengthen your knowledge.
For me personally, these two methods are relatively simple, but once I get to the exam, I sometimes feel like a fish out of water. I usually combine my notes, delete some useless details, and add some of the points mentioned in class to create a study guide and then use it to study for my exam.
I really like the process of making my study guide because it forces me to review and organize my notes. So when I finish the outline, I have reviewed the information twice, and it would be much simpler to review. If you get tired from writing an outline, you can give yourself a 5 to 10 minute break to let your brain relax so that you can better concentrate after your break.
If you're preparing a comparison essay or exam, try using a chart. List the most concise information in the chart so that you can quickly grasp the essentials, and the thesis of the paper will be clearer and easier to understand. But if you get really tired, you can just listen to some songs related to the test during the break. For example, there are many songs on the internet about the periodic table of elements, the history of ancient Egypt, and so on. Listening to these songs will both relax you and help you remember things you just studied. So if you forget anything when you go into the exam, you can just sing in your head.
The same easier review method is associating ideas, combining words with something interesting or something that you can remember, so that reviewing is both effective and fun. If you don't feel like reviewing, you can use your break to make yourself an agenda. Write down what you have to do and simply decorate it. I usually use a form, and I feel very accomplished whenever I cross off a task or see a small illustration I draw.
If you have any questions about the information that you learned, be sure to ask the teacher or classmates in time. I usually get together with everyone to form a study group before the exam. You can ask each other questions or watch some videos explaining the information online so that your questions can be answered and studying won't be as painful. Finally is, how do you learn a language? I first experienced the bottleneck period when I started learning French, so I think that everyone kind of gets frustrated in the process of learning a language.
Yeah, I experienced the same thing too. I think the best way to learn a language is to watch TV. And you didn't get me wrong, you should watch TV. My native language is Chinese, so the process from my first experience with English to my current skill was not easy for me. When I first started learning English, I would find some simple and interesting English movies in my spare time and force myself to watch watch them in English, with English subtitles, of course. When I watch it the first time, I pause every sentence to make sure I understood, and then continue watching it. After watching the movie one sentence at a time, I will continue to watch the second time in English with the subtitles. But this time, I will not press the pause button in the middle and finish it in one breath. After watching it twice, the plot and the details are almost clear. If you still want to watch it, or if you still have doubts with some of the plot, then reward yourself to watch it in English but with Chinese subtitles.
My native language is English, so my trick for learning Chinese is listening to music. I really like listening to music, so listening to Chinese songs isn't boring or hard. I would have Miranda or her friends recommend me some of the songs that they like. That way, I can listen to some great songs and learn pronunciation and vocabulary. Besides that, there are many vocal learning apps online. We both use the Duolingo software. It includes 85 different languages that you can learn.
If you have troubles with memorizing vocabularies, you can just write it down. I usually make flashcards. On the site facing up, I will write the vocabulary. If you think handwriting them down takes a lot of time, there is an online vocabulary option, a software called Quizlet. You only need to type the term and its definition on the website, and it would automatically generate flashcards to help you review the terms. So that's all the tips we have for you guys on how to study for English tests.
We have some questions that you can practice answering after this video. We wish you good luck on your exams and see you after summer break.
Bye!